This is the Lands Remaining playtest, part 6. And we are going to begin with the Old Fire. Shelf, please read your prompt and then do what it says.
All right. Narrate a flashback to the time of the Old Fire, to the day you joined the Nameless Legion. What name did you surrender, and what did you believe you were giving it up for? Chains tie the wrists of a large man, a prisoner, being escorted in bondage by other, much smaller men, into a glade. His eyes adjust to white. A pure, blinding white snow blankets a small glade encircled by a mossy curtain of trees. He stumbles forward, almost trips. The ground is covered in mounds of dirt that are further covered by snow. He steps away from his captors, over the uneven ground. At the glade's center point stands a knight in a legionnaire's binding vow plate, with gauntleted hands resting upon a tall, broad stone stained with lichen and blood. The prisoner feels dwarfed by this knight, who is half his size.
My name is Galtwin.
The prisoner kneels.
Please, I can wield a sword, and I do not eat so much, nor take up so much space as I appear to. I will be no burden, only a boon for the Legion.
The Legion speaks. You would think of yourself highly to wield a sword. We do not draw but are drawn. We are but pommel in the hand of king and company. Our blade is theirs to wield. The legionnaire wrests the rock from the earth and cracks Galtwin in the face, sending him sprawling back. Galtwin cowers and retreats on his belly, fumbling through handfuls of snow. Do you still remember your name?
Galtwin.
Blood trickles from the prisoner's forehead.
Well, Galtwin,
steel yourself. Today, you honorably give your life to the Legion. The knight begins to recite the vows, and Galtwin's vision goes completely white. The Nameless Legion endures. Crack. That knowledge may be kept. Crack. That brothers may stand. Crack. That no foe shall pass. Crack. And the fallen may rest. The man stops struggling as he is beaten to death and collapses. Perhaps an hour passes, perhaps more, until the man's eyes slip open. Falling snowflakes look cherry red through the blood pooling out of his eyes and into the snow. The knight sits beside him and asks again, do you still remember your name?
My name? I don't know.
Good. Now, can you repeat to me the vows? The man who will be the last knight of the Nameless Legion gets a quiver in his lip before he speaks, and we cut to black. Scene ends.
That's fantastic, thank you. For people listening to the video instead of watching, you will have missed You will have missed Maki giving Alexander side eye the literal whole time. It was very, very funny. No, that was great. Thank you. Let's continue with our startup session. Let's recap our mysteries. We have two active mysteries right now, one of which you haven't made any actual progress on, except just to go to it, and that is the Whitewood. But I will remind you of the question that you're trying to answer, which is how do we get access to this glowing, luminous lodge that appears above the tree line at certain times of night? Um, so what we kind of know at a basic level is this like undead commune is being hunted by a race called the Luminians, and we need to figure out what's going on there, and importantly, how to get up to that lodge. We also have the Moldering Court. You have made a lot of progress on the Moldering Court. In this one, we are, of course, trying to determine the nature or story of Lady Kenduin's lost love. That is a complexity 8 question, and you have 8 clues right now on it. I'm about to have potentially more. Well, you had 7. I'm about to, you get an 8th from that we didn't talk about last time, which I'll talk about now. So, Gavrin, you had kind of done the information move while interacting with this fox, I think. And I don't remember exactly like how that interaction went, but I do think that what the clue is one of the foxes, maybe like one of the young foxes, drags into the clearing of the amphitheater a broken mask of lacquered petals, one side pristine, the other melted. And that is going to be your clue. So that is your 8th clue on that. If you were to attempt the question now, and you would be doing it at a flat roll. Obviously, you can mark aspects to get extra clues, and so you can bump that up. So you're in really good shape on the Moldering Court. Now, the interesting thing about the Moldering Court, though, in our current circumstance, is 2 of the embers are no longer at the Moldering Court, and so if you answer the question, you basically set up the final encounter. You don't automatically have the final encounter. I read it more closely, and you have just gotten the opportunity to enter the heart of the swamp. Once you enter the heart of the swamp, you have the struggle. So you can answer the question and kind of tee it up, and then when you're all back together, you can go to the heart of the swamp, or it could just be Gavrin and Old Smoke that go to the heart of the swamp. That's fine too, and fight the putrescent queen. So that is what's going on with the Moldering Court. Let me take a look at each of the embers. In particular, I'm going to go in order of the sheet. I want to check in on your conditions, and I also want to see if there is a move or a scene that you would like to have happen today. And so, Shelf, you are currently on Periwinkle's quest, and you are also connected to the mycelial network. And I also want to note that you have one active member of the Legion who's still available to be used for a bonus. So are there any scenes or moves that you want to see?
Um, no, no scenes. I'll find a way to use that member of the Legion.
That sounds good to me. Let's go to Old Smoke, who slips between shadows. You are marked by Lady Verdanth. We, of course, had that wonderful scene of encountering an Emerald Knight patrol. The Emerald Knights, of course, being servants of Noxiliax, the Emerald Nightmare. I don't think there's anything else we need to be reminded of. Do you have any particular moves or scenes you want to have today?
I would love if Old Smoke and Gavrin solve the mystery of the Moldering Court together.
And actually face the putrescent queen? Oh, interesting indeed. Nazel of the Red Canopy. I feel like I'm always pronouncing this wrong. Is it Nazel or Nicel? We all bounce
Nizal.
around. Nizel.
Nizal.
Okay. Thank you. Nazel of the Red Canopy. You have the Curse of House Durella, and I don't think that's going away anytime soon. And Bruised Ribs. Is there, and you've just murdered Sir Kalen too,
Yes,
in order
indeed.
to get a clue. Are there any scenes or moves you'd like to do today?
Should the opportunity arise, I would like to visit Fen, the gravedigger, on Elegy and
Oh.
take some of his body parts.
That would require the Moldering Court to be resolved because you can't return to
Unless I
or
want to answer
answer the question. That's true. If you want to answer the question, you can go back. That's true. Fair enough. Gavrin the Everlit, you are Herald of the Kindled Heart, and you have the burden of House Durellen. Do you have any scenes or moves you'd like to do today?
I'll second trying to resolve the Moldering Court. And if not today, then next session, I think I would like to go back to Elegy as well and get rid of that House Jurellen by burying him
That
in a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
mausoleum
yeah, yeah. That's
at
probably a
some
good idea.
point soonish.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let me continue on with our start of session. Okay, next we have to mark new end of session questions if you wish. These, of course, are your role playing goals for today. Do we have any moves that trigger at the start of session? All right, then. If there are fewer than 3 active mysteries, I will introduce a new mystery. So, the new mystery, you can follow along on the tab. I've put it in there already. It's called The Branch Torn Knight. And it reads: When the hallowed halls of the liege lords and ladies were graced by the courteous and the brave, when the true-hearted still bore arms, there was a game. Each year the courts would send their greatest heroes to Castle Brynwild for a grand tournament. Here the bold would hope to gain the honor of facing the branch-torn knight, for it was said he could only be slain by the worthy. To ignore or refuse his challenge would be to live in shame. Lances were shattered, friendships and rivalries were forged, temptations were resisted or indulged. But then the dimning came, and the branch-torn knight's challenge was answered not by those true of heart, but by the broken remainders of a time refusing to die. None now remember what the true challenge was. None now live that have satisfied his game. One last time the game must be played. You must find out how to prove yourself worthy to the branch-torn knight so his game can be finished. Only then can he find rest and perhaps accept that this world no longer answers him. Each of you must answer the following. What legend of the branch-torn knight have you heard? Did the hero fail or succeed in the secret test? Think about it for a moment, and whoever wants to answer, please do.
I have heard a legend that somebody tried to engage in this game and they entered with a poisoned blade. And this was discovered at some point during the duel. And not only were they bested, but then the Branch Torn Knight utterly just decimated them, like head on a pike, like paraded around as a mark of this unchivalrous behavior, and that this was they. I don't remember their name, but everyone remembers what happened to them.
I think Gavin heard the story of a servant, not even a squire, but like a servant at a castle who saw the tournament and kind of, knew that they would never bear such arms and do all these things. But the story is kind of, this very classic like 3-act structure. Um, 3 times a knight comes to them for help. And each time they like help in this very clever, like guile, like Odysseus kind of way. Like they kind of not trick necessarily, but have like this very clever way. And when the winner of the tournament, I think it ends in a draw, and the Branch Torn Knight actually asks for the servant. And I think the secret test there was that it is not necessarily only about your strength in arms, but that it is about the strength of your heart. And if you are guile and smart enough, then you too are worthy.
These would be the different stories that Gavrin and Nizal remember from this.
I think the story that Old Smoke recalls most specifically, although there are various versions obviously floating around, is the Branch Torn Knight has done battle with many challengers, and each time in whatever retelling of the legend, and whichever challenger it happens to be, whatever kingdom or culture they come from, the branch torn knight falls. And the true test is the mercy or lack thereof that the challenger gives the branch torn knight. And they truly lose the battle when they show no mercy at all.
That there is a story about the branch torn knight's travel to the castle. And in that tale, the branch torn knight is waylaid by a group of highwaymen who proceed to rob him and toss him into a river. The story concludes by each of the highwaymen, or rather, the story concludes with each of the highwaymen meeting some sort of twist of fate death based on the object that they stole from the branch torn knight, and the branch torn knight himself is returned from the river to the castle, carried on a palanquin by a small army of geese.
You have a single question on this mystery, which is, how can you prove yourself worthy to the branch torn knight? It's a complexity 6. The opportunity is to resolve the mystery by entering the vine-hearted chapel to be tested by the branch torn knight. Immediately engage in the struggle. Now, let's talk countdowns. We've talked about countdowns briefly before, but it's becoming more and more of a pressing issue, even though so far nothing has been marked on countdowns. The Moldering Court has a 3-mark countdown. I'll keep it kind of vague, but basically, if the countdown reaches all 3 marks, an exile from the Moldering Court will return, and this will not be good for you. The countdown on the Whitewood is that the species of Illuminaians will be no more if you hit all 5 marks on that countdown. The countdown on the Branch Torn Knight is intriguing. It's a 5-mark countdown, but it starts to become a problem at 3. On the 3rd mark of the countdown, one of your supplicants will challenge the Branch Torn Knight and will fall. On the 4th mark, another supplicant, if you have one, will challenge the Branch Torn Knight and will fall. And on the 5th, a 3rd supplicant, should you have one by then, will challenge the Branch Torn Knight and fall. And so it starts to get really hairy on the Branch Torn Knight. It is an easier question, which is, or easier to answer question, but it has very, very high stakes. So, with all that said, let's get back into it. So, you're all kind of just wrapping up Make Camp. I need a group-created clue on each of the Make Camps. These clues cannot be for the Branch Torn Knight because they would have been given before I introduced it. They can be for the Whitewood or for the Moldering Court, though. And it doesn't matter. It could be even the one that you found at the Moldering Court can be for the Whitewood if you want it to be. It's fine. So, Nizelle and Shelf, have you had a chance to think about what your clue is?
Yes, we talked about it.
Okay.
So in our Make Camp, we had discussed like death and burial rites, and I think that there was more to that conversation kind of off screen. So we discussed like different things we had seen in different places we had traveled. And the clue is for the Whitewood, and we would like to, once we arrive at the Whitewood, notice burial bindings on a side character's wrists.
Interesting. Okay, I like that. Go ahead and note that, please. And Gavin and Old Smoke, have you had a chance to think of your clue that you found during your Make Camp?
Yes, I think so. We spent most of our time still in the amphitheater talking, but we were hoping we'd notice a corroded silver locket in amongst the detritus scattered around the amphitheater, and that the inside the locket was a faded image of the Fey prince Bradamantius, who, of course, was the bearer of the heron spear that was legendarily made to slay, help me out, Narcillirax? The Emerald Nightmare.
Noxiliax. Or you can just say the Emerald Nightmare. Yeah.
Much easier, Noxiliax, thank you. I should know that should be pounded my skull now after my last interaction with one of the Noxiliax's captains or commanders. And that there is within the locket a strand of hair wrapped around a rose thorn stem with a single blood red petal in it. So we would like to have found that.
Fantastic. Go ahead and add that to the mystery. Let's now check in. So, with the journey is coming to an end, unless there's something else I need to be aware of. And the four of you, including Sir Denebray and Periwinkle, I think Sir Denebray and Periwinkle will take their leave of you, actually. I think they're going to go off by themselves. We don't know where they go, but we'll find out in time. And so the two of you then are approaching the undead commune. You're not quite there yet, though. I'm going to say you're about maybe half a mile away. It is daytime. And you come upon this great oak tree that has been split violently. And the heartwood of the tree is actually vibrant and green. And it almost seems like it's pulsating with heat. What do you do?
I'm climbing in the tree. 100%. No hesitation.
I think as you approach, you'll hear a voice from kind of off to the side. I would be careful if I were you. That is a site of green grace. And this person is a man, shaved bald, wearing ragged green robes, and his arms and neck are covered in tattoos of scales, like his body is scaled. That is a site of green grace. A mark left by the old fire reborn.
And I should be careful of it because...
It is a sacred place. Forgive me. I have not introduced myself. I am called the Scale-Blessed Pilgrim. I am a green ember, a true ember. One who has found the truth of the old fire reborn in the great dragon.
When he said true ember, my hand went to Harrow because this feels this feels dangerous now. What is Shelf doing?
I think Shelf is kind of, I guess, sort of like poking at the tree, kind of curious. This is no what? Is it green ember?
Yes. I believe it is providence of the old fire reborn that the three of us should have met in this place. I wish to offer you the gift of absolution, to cast off your falsehood, and to become a green ember like me. Seek not the throne of the hidden king. This is folly. The old fire is reborn. They are here in the great forest of Khaldun. The great dragon is the old fire, and we have an opportunity to be its servants, to remake the world in verdant splendor.
Providence was delivered when upon a member of the Waxen Company was reborn. Thank you very much, sir. You will speak no further nonsense on this green ember. Flames are to be orange, they are to be red, they are to be yellow, they are to be white, and burning with heat.
I mean no disrespect. I certainly intend no offense. I too know of this waxen order, and I believe the stories that it was a member of the waxen order who saw the old fire for the last time, the last person to lay eyes upon it. If such a person were here, they would confirm that this site of green grace has the same power and energy as the old fire, and is therefore evidence that the old fire is reborn in the dragon. We simply have a difference in understanding.
Yes. Well, if he were here, I'm sure he would be able to confirm that this is a false effigy. Now I will be on my way.
May the grace of the old fire reborn be with you.
Can I eat a piece of moss off of the tree?
Sure.
Okay.
For what purpose?
I would like to do that as the information move.
Oh yeah,
I want to
I'm
know
into
what's
it.
going on here.
No, I'm totally into it. Go ahead and make the information move with, I think it's probably vitality, weirdly. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Let me see. Let me take a look at
Regular.
your conditions. Let's look. Curse of House Durella and Bruised Ribs. No, yeah, just regular. It's fine.
Okay, great. That is an 8.
An 8. I want to know before I keep going, Shelf. You seem like you've got your hackles up with this guy. How are you feeling right now?
I think that Shelf is actually well, he said that he's going to be on his way, but he is stepping up towards the tree. I think he's going to pull his axe out and like go to like just sort of like hack at the tree a bit, to add some insult, to add some injury to insult rather.
Zell is not here for this. I will fight you.
I think this kind of ties in nicely to your mixed result here, Nizelle, because what I think is going to happen is I think I'm going to give you each a condition, one for your conversation, Shelf, and reaction with the Scale Blessed Pilgrim, and Nizelle because of your mixed result. I just want to know how you're feeling right now. We don't need to have a conflict here. I just want to know what is the feeling that's been induced.
The emotion is what would it be? I suppose Shelf at least is feeling the word is I need to think of the word. Sorry.
Zealous, frustrated, overheated.
Fronted.
Zealous. Yes.
Zealous,
Zealous
yes.
is the one.
Nizelle, what about you?
Like, Shelf was the one ember that I thought I wasn't going to have to kill eventually, and so I'm feeling exasperated, I guess, that seems to not be the case.
Fantastic. I think you are going to. So you said consumed a bit of this moss, right? Actually, I'm sorry. Let me. Well, so what do you suppose the condition is then? Sorry, like frustrated or
Yeah, yeah, I can maybe
or you can
frustrated,
edit.
but
You
something in
can
there. Yeah.
you have authorial control. You decide. But
Okay,
let me
cool.
check in on this clue. So you consume this moss, which means you're probably going to get some kind of psychic or sense impression, or maybe just a really like it could be just a biological response as well. I think you have, upon eating the moss, you have a sudden noseful of the smell of quicksilver. That's your clue. And as you get closer and closer to the undead commune, you will also, that smell of quicksilver gets more and more powerful. Shelf, I don't think you can smell it at all, but Nizel, you can smell it. Gavin and Old Smoke, it'll be the next day for you as well, here in the Moldering Court. I am curious, what are we doing here? Are we going to answer the question? I mean, you have 9 clues, which is pretty solid, especially if you mark an aspect. Uh, Thoughts?
I think so, Gavin. What do you think?
Yeah, I can't immediately think of another way I would love to investigate, so I'm fine. I'm fine trying to answer it.
Let's review
Ooh,
the
I want
clues.
to
So the
investigate
clues.
more.
Oh, sorry. Say that again. Old Smoke.
So that if you want to investigate further, I'm okay with that as well.
You all have a lot. I mean, you have 9,
Yeah,
and especially if you mark an aspect, you should have plenty to do it.
yeah, and then maybe I can get to Elegy and get more clues for the Morning Tower if we want to
I
do
think
that
I've
today
got a
as
pitch
well.
Yeah,
if you want to hear it.
go for it.
Okay, so I like the idea, having learned last session, Old Smoke learned last session that Narciliax was also crestfallen and heartbroken,
Hmm.
was consumed with grief. I like the idea of lining our clues so that we have Lady Kendallin being one of the most awe-inspiring beauties amongst the Fae,
Hmm.
and so sought after that it captured the attention of Narciliax, and Narciliax tries to woo her. And so that some of our clues, the ring and the cup in particular, are gifts that Narciliax.
Wait, so you're saying that the beloved is the dragon?
No, 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 not no, don't go
Oh,
there yet. So
okay.
Narciliax tries to woo Lady Kendallin, and it's Prince Radamanthus that rushes to defeat the dragon in order to win Lady Kendallin's heart and save her from the fate of being wooed by this terrible creature. And I think that lines up all of our other clues. And I think the reason we find the heron spear in Old Gore and the handkerchief at Castle Bray is because he's a hero. And before he gets to defeat the dragon, he goes to aid Castle Bray in the siege and dies in the siege. And the mask that we found is his death mask that she makes half out of petals and half out of his burnt and discarded flesh because Narciliax has the last laugh on poor Radamanthus after he loses the spear in Old Gore. I think that puts together all of our clues for us.
Well, let's go through them. Um, so, I mean, let's just go through them one by one. So we have this pristine blue handkerchief found in a ruined castle, and then we have the broken mask of lacquered petals. You've certainly directly accounted for those two. Um, the scrap of parchment naming a fake courtship rite. What's the relevance to this story?
I think that that's the courtship right that he claims in
Got
order
it.
to.
Okay. To assert, yeah,
Yeah,
the betrothal.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So what's the deal with the ring then?
The ring and the cup are gifts from Narciliax to Lady Kendallin trying to woo her.
Oh, because
They're
the
the
ring has
two most
emeralds on it. Yes.
correct. Yes, exactly.
Very good. Let me take a look at the
I think
cup.
the love poem is a poem from him to her, and the locket is her memory of him.
Okay. Um, bu- 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 Does anyone have an idea for like adding extra context to the wine goblet that might hint that it was a gift from Noxiliax? Like, is there something special about the
Magic.
honey?
It converts water to honey, so that's magic.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good start. Is there some? I think you can add
I
extra
like the
context to it though.
idea that maybe that was a gift from the prince, because it's like a very like
You're
um
competing or something.
yeah, like I'm imagining. I also, and this is kind of off topic, but I kind of like that this implies that the only spear that defeated the dragon wasn't necessarily in a fight. And it's like defeating him in a romantic way. But I like these like competing gifts, and the wine and the honey is like honey is very associated with like healing and like youth and like that kind of. So it feels like a very like healing actually romantic gift, whereas like a ring with emeralds is more like I'm claiming you to be mine. Like this would show that you're
Oh, that's quite good,
mine.
actually.
So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I like that's what I was looking for. Like, what's the like giving them a little bit of story, like a more direct story
Hmm.
meaning. And I kind of like the idea of like one's like claiming and another's like an offering, right? Which I think
Yeah.
is really good. And it kind of that's pretty great. Obviously we have the so the cloak pin I'm gathering is this is just pure happenstance that Lady Verdant has this because it's something that might have been in Auxiliax's lair, right? Is that the idea? Okay, good.
Yeah, exactly.
And then okay, so that just leaves the fragment of a love poem etched in the courtyard beneath a rose, and then the two butterflies pinned together on a thorn, their wings still beating faintly.
The love poem, I think, was a love poem that Rhadamanthus wrote to Lady Kendlin.
Okay, good. We can say that the poem like is suggestive of that. Like if you read it, it kind of like oh, that's really good. Uh Good. Okay. So I think that probably that poem is going to have to be really important in the confrontation with Lady Kenduin, right? So I would be thinking of like what that poem is about. And then the two butterflies.
The butterflies feel to me um the fact that they're pinned together, because we also need to have the nature of this love, and this is like very like this was clearly a romantic relationship, but the butterflies also to me like very like symbolize like this fragile beauty, and the fact that the wings are still beating, I think maybe that clues us in like, oh, that love is still there, right? And that's like how we can pull
Mm,
that thread of that beauty, like she hasn't
I like it.
fully forgotten.
Alina, Alexander, do you have any objections to this? This is a pretty good theory.
No objections.
None.
All right. So you're up to +1 currently. Now let's talk strategy here because this as ever TLR is the most strategic of the CFB games. There's a strategy here because if you can manage to get the roll all the way up to a 12 plus, the answer is also a Lord clue that can be used eventually to find Noxiliax, but you've got to get it up to a 12 plus. Now, as long as you get a 10, you can mark Cinder to bump it up to a 12 plus. So you have a lot of incentive to try to get this die roll up to a 10 and to at least a 10. And so if anyone has aspects that will help add additional clues to the solution, that will help that roll and give you your best chance at that.
I do. I'll take the aspect on my Heron spear that belonged to Prince Rhadamanthus.
Okay, very good. You're up to 10 clues. Fantastic. Go ahead and mark that.
To give us a better chance, and I currently have no aspect mark, so I can be a little generous. I can mark one as well. I kind of like the cannot be extinguished. Again, sort of going into like this love is still
Oh, the
alive,
love
like
cannot
the
be.
the,
Yeah,
the,
it's
the
perfect.
spark
Love
is
it. Yep,
there.
yep. You're up to 11 clues. You're at a +3 on the roll currently. Anything else?
What are we rolling against?
It's just it's 2d6 plus the number of clues worked in minus the complexity. So you're at +3.
I think
I say
I'm
we roll it because I would love an opportunity for someone to mark Cinder. Like selfishly,
Well, that's the
I just
thing.
think
Like,
that
well,
would be
yeah,
really cool.
yeah. I want to see if you guys can get up to a 12. I mean, it would because the answer is so connected to the Emerald Nightmare. It feels
Yeah,
like it really
yeah.
has you have to hit a 12,
Yeah,
right? But
I will say I have like only one box left to fill on my kindling gate, so I could mark a cinder and then if I lean into it hard, maybe unmark it this session.
Yeah, but you
So
already get
I
to roll with Cinder all the time. I want to mark Cinder.
no,
that's a
but you
fair
have
point.
to
Yeah.
like mark your cinder, right? Like
Yeah,
mark
yeah.
it. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I will find an opportunity to mark Cinder. We don't we don't need to make one.
Fantastic. Let's go ahead and say if we're all satisfied, then we'll roll a +3. Who wants to roll it?
Go ahead, Jazzy.
Oh, I was gonna leave it to you because it was mostly your theory, but all right. Let's do this. Well, the dice love us. That's a 10 on the dice +3.
There you go. No cinder needed. So let's we didn't actually read the move, so let's read the move. The move says, when the embers have an open, freewheeling discussion about the answer to a question once they have gathered a number of clues equal to at least half the question's complexity and reach a consensus, roll plus the number of clues incorporated into the answer or otherwise explained away, minus the complexity. On a 10 plus, the answer is correct and the opportunity can be pursued. I will also note here, because you got a 10 plus, the opportunity is easier to pursue. The struggle is not as hard on a 10 plus. Is my 12 thing not in here? It looks like the 12 plus part didn't end up in the character keeper arena. But the 12 plus part, thank you. The 12 plus part says that the answer is also a Lord clue. We'll have to recontextualize it a little bit, but not too much. So basically, the answer to this is also a Lord clue to confronting Noxiliac. So this is about as good as it gets in terms of gameplay progression. You now have the opportunity to enter the heart of the swamp, which you can do at any time. You can do it whenever you want to do it. Whoever enters into the heart of the swamp, though, is going to confront the Putrescent Queen. So that is the deal. And so let's take a 5-minute break. Give you all a chance to kind of regroup and think what's going to happen here. We'll pick up at the Whitewood at the Undead Commune. I'll see you all in 5. Okay, we're back. The Undead Commune. The Whitewood. I think as you're approaching, you'll start to see the Whitewood trees. These very in the distance, you'll kind of see they're kind of like tall, slender, white trunks. And as you get closer, even though it was like kind of day, as you get closer and closer to the Whitewood Grove, it almost feels like the light dims. It's not night, but everything gets a little dimmer. And this thick fog starts to rise up. So it's like suddenly a very gray day. And there's this like thick fog kind of blanketing all around. And you see these rows of slender birch trees covered in cracked white bark. The branches are embellished with similarly white leaves. You see that several of the trunks are actually smeared in childlike strokes of paint. And there are lean-tos and other small wooden structures offering shelter to the undead. Noticeably, perhaps, there are no fire pits anywhere, as white wood cannot be set aflame, and in any case, the undead have no real need for heat. Let's paint the scene, everyone. In what ways have the undead repurposed the tools and weapons from the war to the betterment of their commune? I'll remind you, these undead were all former soldiers in a war, and they just rose.
I think we see like at the edges of the field great like crane-like structures, what were once like probably like ballistas or like like siege weapons that must have been throwing like giant stones over the fields, or because it's fantasy, giant stones but on fire. But I think now it's very clear that they have been repurposed to move heavy objects to like create shelters or build something or clear debris so that basically everyone here has a space to live or to seek shelter if they so choose, or even privacy, perhaps.
Similarly, I think some of the martial weapons, pikes and halberds and such, have been turned into common farm implements for shoveling or hoeing or tilling soil, and growing crops, even though the undead might not need it. It gives a pastoral, communal feeling to the entire community.
The I think the horses, the war horses, are in a way still around. Generations have still been bred of their war horses. So you see a a breed of the like that any tourney fighter would love to have, instead just sort of like pulling a plow.
And all around the camp, there are arrows everywhere, but they're just being used to hold up things. So you've got like laundry lines strung between two arrows in a tree. You've got like an arrow that's jammed in, like holding up a sign, and they're just being used for fasteners.
Yeah, and I think you'll see several of the undead kind of roaming around the commune, um, you know, in and around. Basically, the commune's kind of in a clearing of these like white birch trees, right? These white woods, and um, but as you're kind of approaching, before you can reach the commune proper, you see a an undead, his ashen body perforated with old wounds, garlands of rotting wildflowers wreathed around a dented gorget. He's sitting on a little stool, and he has managed to repurpose a piece of tarp to be a canvas, and he's painting a landscape. As you approach, you can see his withered, near bone arm going up and down, painting. And as you approach, he'll kind of turn and say, "Oh, hello there. Welcome. Welcome to the undead commune."
Thank you. I don't hope to stay long.
"Well, that's unfortunate. We have so much food and no one to eat it."
There's like skeptical glance at Shelf, but I suppose we could help you out with that. But what I meant was I don't plan to die here.
You. Oh, your embers. And he kind of reaches out a kind of bony, paint stained hand and beckons you closer to either of you, not to either of you in particular. He just beckons you closer. "Oh, bright ember, it has been an eternity since I have been near a warmth such as yours. A kindness, I pray. Lay your hand against my withered." His jaw has fallen off and is now on the ground. He will reach down for his jaw and sorry about that. "I pray, lay your hand against my withered cheek so that I may know that warmth once more."
Nizal will step back and kind of gesture, like, go ahead, Shelf.
I
I suppose I may. I worry, though, that you might um, collapse by by the mere touch of my gauntlet.
Oh, it wouldn't be the first time I've fallen to pieces. Don't take it personally.
What has happened to this venerable war host?
Ah, do not mourn for us, sir. We are quite happy. Well, maybe not in recent years, but we have, of late, recent centuries, been quite happy with our arrangement here. As you can see, we have plenty of. We have plenty of communal activity. We have a leadership structure, and every fifth night we sing songs.
Painter, you
Alarix is my name.
Alarix.
Former man-at-arms, now painter.
Alarix the painter. Then what what do you paint?
Go ahead and make the information move with, since you shared your warmth with vitality.
All right. This is maybe maybe a stretch, but could I also use an aspect from Void Ink? Could I provide it to him as
Oh, I
pigment?
love it. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Black as night and darker still. All right. Then. All right, then that is that with vitality that is a 13.
Wow. Good Lord clue, too. We'll come back to this in a moment. So, Gavin, Old Smoke, what are you up to? You think you've sorted, indeed you have sorted, the story of Lady Kendwin's lost love?
Um, unless Alexander and Alina really want to be present, I don't see a reason not to engage in the struggle and get it over with and go to elegy.
Do it. Do it.
Fantastic. Then we will engage the struggle. Let me go grab the text of the struggle, which I will paste into the Discord chat. Actually, I'll post it there. Let me just do that real quick. I'm going to pause briefly while I do that so people don't have to watch me. The struggle with the putrescent queen. The first movement. The mire deepens as you approach her domain. The water rises past your knees, warm as blood, carrying the smell of wilted roses and something sharper, like grief left out to spoil. Petals drift across the surface, each one mottled with the sickly hues of bloom rot. The air grows heavy, pressing in around you, thick with a sweetness that glazes your eyes. At the swamp's heart she waits. Lady Kendwin, once radiant sovereign of the Rose Court, is now the putrescent queen, a grotesque bloom of ruin and memory. Her body rises from a throne of fused roots and drowned roses, petals peeling from her limbs like shedding skin. Her eyes glow with a fevered light, bright with longing and madness. She lifts one trembling hand. All who wander into my garden carry a seed of longing, Let me tend it. Let me show you how beautifully it blossoms into ruin. The swamp answers her. Let's paint the scene. Everyone in her presence, the memory of love is a wound. What detail in this place stirs an ache of longing, heartbreak, or devotion in you? Or if you were there, what would it stir in you?
I think under the rot, there is this smell of ash. And I think Gavin is reminded of burning down forests that are so dry that they just kind of like spark by themselves. But when the fire has settled, flowers grow. Not even like just because things grow, but specifically triggered by that heat, by that fire. Without that, they couldn't grow. And I think being reminded of that and seeing this queen that was once so beautiful now like this, I think there's this overwhelming desire to fix this for her, to burn it out of her.
The vines, the way that the vines, the drowned roots, and the waterlogged roses brush against one as they travel towards closer to the putrescent queen. It is like the vegetation is seeking this sort of lover's caress, and in that is the some heartbreak perhaps that you will not, well, that you may not stay here, or perhaps a question of whether or not you will stay here, or not you will accompany the flora in death, or whether you will have to move on in life.
I think for Old Smoke, it's the first time his heart has quickened in a millennia, and he has this strange recollection of the only intimate partner he ever knew in the Order of the Crystal Door, Brother Silhouette, whom he thinks he hears whispering on the breeze, such to give him pause. It arrests his usual concentrated focus for a moment before he catches himself.
The thing that would stand out most to Nizelle is not the putrescent queen herself, but the things around her, the just mundane things that everybody has on hand, and specifically the signs of their disuse. You know, you've got like the basin that you would wash your hands in, and the just normal, you know, like a brush and things like that that have just fallen into utter disrepair because she hasn't been taking care of herself. And that's a very poignant and desperate thing to see.
A wave of rot surges outward, warm, wet, suffocating. Heartbreak lances through you with the force of a blade. Images not your own bloom behind your eyes, a hand slipping from yours, a voice calling your name then falling silent, a dance that ends mid-step. The rot clings to your skin, to your breath, to the edges of your thoughts, threatening to hollow you out from within. To Gavin and Old Smoke, please describe how you attempt to withstand the first assault, how you brace against the rot, shake off the heartbreak, or cling to something that keeps you whole, and then roll the dark move. You can't get close to her yet. All you can do is survive this assault of sadness. We'll start with Gavrin.
I think as this sadness takes hold, Gavin almost like stumbles forward, almost like, being so sad, you kind of like buckle at the core, like you can't even stand up. And he does that leaning on the burning branch. And that one candle that he always seems to whisper to flickers. And it catches from the corner of his eye, he will see old smoke. And I think, even though old smoke probably doesn't need it, I think he himself tells him that he can't give up because people need protection. He thinks of Shelf, of Nizel, of Old Smoke, and he thinks most of all of how his value lies in protecting them and guiding them. So he'll just think of that, of being that guidance and not letting go of that. They still need him.
Would you say this is in alignment with your mark, or it's not a marked cinder, but it is the herald, your condition, the herald of the kindled heart?
I think so. It's this like self-sacrificing I need to burn for everybody else
Yeah,
because they
okay,
need
yeah, yeah.
me.
You can go ahead and roll or you can go ahead and mark the kindling gate, which is your sixth kindling gate box mark, by the way. And I am going to put you at disadvantage, unfortunately. And
Absolutely.
this is going to be the dark move with, I think it's going to be with presence, actually. Just tell me what you're afraid is going to happen if you fail.
If Ken is fine with this, I think what I'm afraid of is that inadvertently Old Smoke is going to do something that shows that my whole "Oh, I need to protect everything" is absolutely ridiculous, and he did not even spend a single second thinking about me.
And it's worse than that. I think that will be you, an ember going cold, and you will return to the grave. So go ahead and roll with, yeah, go ahead and roll with presence, but at disadvantage, please.
Yeah, I will mark my burning branch, light the way in the dark places of the world to bring that up to a normal roll.
Okay.
That branch has been useful in the past. That is a 7 total.
All right. On on a 7 to 9, you do it or hold steady, but there's a complication or cost. I will describe what it looks like. We'll come back to that. Old Smoke, how do you just withstand this psychic assault, the sad swamp water, if you will, the wave of rot?
I think I'm going to recite my Mouse in the Tower mantra, but I'm also wondering if I would be helped by reciting the first stanza of the poem that we saw written earlier.
Possibly. You might also save that for when you get ready to confront her directly, but yeah.
All right, so Mouse in the Tower for sure. And I think the phrase best used here, at last, at the very top, the mouse found a crystal door, smooth and clear as still water.
Yeah, very good. That's a great use of that. Yeah, it's really, really good. Fantastic. Your conditions don't apply, so this will be with advantage. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm afraid that both I and Gavrin are going to be swept away by this onslaught of misery.
I I won't speak necessarily to what will happen to Gavrin, but it is worse than that for you. You will be swept away forever by this onslaught of misery. Go ahead and roll with it's composure with advantage, so it's a really easy roll for you.
10.
Nice. Just be thinking about what it looks like when how you focus and how you resist. As we go into the second movement, the mire churns as she rises higher on her throne of roots and drowned roses. The air around her thickens, twisting with heat and perfume and the sharp tang of bloom rot. You try to step forward, and the swamp itself rebels. Water hardens into resistance. Vines knot around your ankles. The very air becomes a wall that shoves you back. Her presence is a force, a gravity, a memory of beauty weaponized into distance. Kenduin's gaze fixes on you with terrible yearning. Petals peel off her skin and drift upwards, suspended in a halo of rot. Every heartbeat feels like it's being pulled forward, toward her, yet your feet cannot follow. She says, "Love is a circle you may not cross. Stand where I left you, where all of you left me." To Gavin and to Old Smoke, you cannot reach her by force or simple will. Describe how you probe the barrier, testing it, distracting it, unraveling its pattern, or how you protect yourself from the magic pushing you away. You can't reach her, but we get to see you testing the barrier, Gavin.
I think at this point, also given the seven, like I think Gavin is once again, fully weeping at this pain and the sadness. But I think he tries with the candles in one hand and his other hand just like touching the barrier, and rather than like trying to forcefully push through it or something, kind of like showing sympathy, like rather I'm going through it, it can go through me and I will be okay.
Old Smoke?
Similarly, Old Smoke is going to close his eyes and kneel, and I think recite the first stanza of the poem.
I just realized we never actually resolved the two moves. That's okay. I can do this. I'm very clever GM. I love it. Gavin, what'd you end up getting on your die roll before?
A seven,
A
the
7.
next
Okay, great.
result.
Yes. I love how everything you've up to this point have described is great, and I think I'm just going to give you a condition wistful, but you are otherwise able to kind of like endure all of that. Old Smoke, please give me a little bit of like fiction of surviving this assault, this sad assault, and then you can kind of get the poem out.
I think with the Mouse in the Tower mantra, Old Smoke is able to psychically shield himself from the assault. With still, I think there's still a bit of a lingering feeling of his heart palpitating and beating, and that memory of his lost love. But aside from that, he's able to weather it and feel quite confident holding his stance.
So what do you do with this poem then that helps you like kind of, or how are you testing the barrier with it, I guess?
I think that what I've gleaned from both learning more about the Emerald Nightmare and now being sure of the clues that we've put together, that this is a way in to the pathos that has been driving Lady Kendallin. And I think that Old Smoke believes that this is, if you will, the key to her lock.
Fantastic. Let's go to the third movement. There is only one way to reach her, the memory of her lost love.
Do you want to hear the poem?
Yes, you can give it to me right now. There is only one way to reach her, the memory of her lost love. To one ember, it'll be you, Smoke. Describe how you use the story of Kenduin's beloved to walk past her barrier.
So Old Smoke kneels and does his best poetic recital. Upon a field of silvered green, I knelt before my radiant queen. No crown of gold upon her head, but thorns and petals and velvet red. She ruled a garden wild and fair, with scent of summer in her hair. My armor shone, my shield of steel, yet at her feet I learned to feel. For every petal, soft and bright, I vowed to be her faithful knight.
The putrescent queen reaches forward, a hand with skin sloughing off from bloom rot, and touches your own kind of withered cheek. Oh, my love, the roses died when you did. The rest of the world was only polite enough to follow. But now you have returned to me. The fourth movement. You have reached the putrescent queen. She has extended her hand, suffused with bloom rot, to you. Let's paint the scene, everyone. You have a vision of Lady Kenduin during happier times. What do you see that shows the old fire burned bright in her?
think it's quite I think it's quite literal. It's very Galadriel like, where the elves in Lothlorien have like this glow about them. And I think we see her maybe like twirl in a dance, and we see that everywhere she steps, I think roses bloom, and everywhere she twirls, we see her hair go, she's laughing at something that we don't even see, but there's just a light to her, and in that moment, in that vision, it seems so bright that, like moonlight, like starlight, even the darkest night couldn't possibly really make it go away.
Yeah, I think building on that, I think the whole glade that we've encountered her in, the sun finally penetrates, and the mold and rot roll back, and it's lush and verdant and beautiful, with the scent of heavy, fresh flowers. And she is at her height of beauty, almost enrapturing Gavrin and Old Smoke as she twirls and dances and sings in her memories.
I have a vision of Lady Kenduin a long time ago coming across a beehive that had been like knocked out of a tree and just like destroyed, and just restoring it. She just is like, oh, that wasn't meant to happen, and she picks it up and she puts it back where it was, and it just sort of reforms. And the bees, like you can hear them start kind of like coming back to themselves in their hive, and then they flush out to go and pollinate the flowers around.
The I was going to describe something very similar, so I'll say that the I was sort of imagining that it was maybe even something that she was known for, having this sort of trail of buzzing bees around her at almost all times. I mean, perhaps that is why the gift was given of the goblet that turned water into honey, as she was a bee queen.
Rose honey. Old Smoke, please describe how you release Lady Kenduin from the thrall of rot, and then roll the light move.
I think Old Smoke holds her as she embraces him, and I think he leans in to give her the kiss that she's been waiting for. And with the goblet, perhaps, that Radamanthus gifted her, shares a drink with her, and bids her farewell, a proper farewell.
What happens to her?
I think she lays down and finally rests. And the verdant, beautiful flowers that have been blooming as she's danced and laughed just literally cover her over in this embrace. It doesn't look like a grave so much as it looks like some beautiful sculpture of exploding color and fragrance.
This is going to be the light move. I like it a lot. I think this is going to be the light move with presence. I am curious, what are you afraid is going to happen if this goes poorly, or if your gesture doesn't work?
That she'll be shaken from the reverie and come back to her old spiteful way.
Yeah, or her death just might be more gruesome than all this, right? I like it. It's really good. Go ahead and roll with presence.
8.
On a 7 to 9, I have to tell you how you'll be vulnerable, and you can choose to continue going through with this approach. You will be able to dispatch her no matter what because you got a success. But I think it's not going to be this peaceful ending. I think at the last minute she realizes the falseness, and you have to actually just physically destroy her. Are you okay with that? Or do you want Gavin to step in and have a shot at it?
Um, Gavin can have a shot at it, but I'm also happy to stoke the old fire to give her a proper send off.
Fantastic. Go ahead and mark the, if that's what we're going to do, mark the old fire, and that'll bump it up to a 10. And please just narrate the beautiful, peaceful ending of Lady Kenduin.
I think, as I said, so we drink from the same cup. I give her the embrace and the kiss, and almost she's almost like diaphanous, filled with light, as she kind of begins to lie back into the embrace of what had been the moldering court, but is now this beautiful, ardent, verdant court filled with life and color and beauty, and she becomes one, and it grows in and through, over and around her, as if she is with the last of her essence, giving this place some touch of magic that she's been holding on to. And I think even there's a feeling that comes over us as the grounds around us change, that this is a place of safety, of comfort, of embrace.
Fantastic. Thank you. The Moldering Court mystery is now resolved. Because you gave Lady Kenduin a peaceful ending, the countdown also stops. Had she gotten a violent ending, the countdown would keep going. But you get the peaceful ending, so the countdown stops. And you also get rewards. Everybody gets rewards, even if you weren't there at the resolution. So let me talk about those real quick. All right. First things first, with every mystery, a side character becomes a supplicant at the Morning Tower. So currently you have Vera over at the Morning Tower, waiting to get into the Morning Tower. And you're going to send another supplicant to the Morning Tower. As a group, you must all choose between Muck, the Weird Mushroom Boy, or Periwinkle, the Rot Gaunt. Who is going to the Morning Tower?
I feel that narratively, Periwinkle might make the most sense, and that could, be where he and Denebray are going, and then why they split off. But I also love Muck, so I'm fine either way. I didn't interact that. Also, I think Periwinkle is very funny for the continued love triangle.
I'd agree that like Periwinkle feels the most appropriate, and again, yeah, it just fits in terms of like what we were doing with the travel.
We got 2 votes for Periwinkle.
As much as I hate to admit it, I will vote Periwinkle as well. Oh, I prefer Periwinkle crucified.
Well, that's the thing.
It's just a matter of time.
If you leave, well, yeah, that's the thing. It can happen no matter what. But Nazelle, are you okay with Periwinkle being the supplicant?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So Periwinkle will go join you at the Morning Tower. You can still encounter Muck in the future in the field, especially if he's out finding mushrooms in other parts of the world, but Periwinkle will always be at the Morning Tower. And now you each get to choose a piece of equipment as a reward. Let me take a clip of this and drop, oops. Let me take a clip of this and drop it into our chat. I'll read them for everybody watching the video though. Each of you gets to choose one. Your options are a rose glass locket, a heart-shaped locket of pale rose crystal warm to the touch. When opened, it reveals the strongest emotion lingering in a place. When held over water, it shows a fleeting image of someone the water remembers. The waterproof reed satchel, a satchel woven from the broad reeds of the swamp. It keeps its contents dry even when submerged. The Lion Guard cloth, a square of bright red cloth that bolters resolve against fear or hesitation and always draws attention from nearby foes or beasts. A brass resonator, a small brass tube engraved with the sigil of House Aurine. It carries your voice clearly across long distances. Or Granny Lou's tonic kit, a bundle of corked vials wrapped in oilcloth smelling sharply of herbs and swamp water. Tonics that cure nausea, ease fever, and soothe bloom rot. Who wants what?
I would feel remiss to not take the Lion Guard cloth, a parting gift from that beautiful old warrior.
That is accounted for. Giselle?
May I take Granny Lou's tonic kit?
There's no objections. Gavin, Old Smoke?
I feel like Gavin would be absolutely insufferable if he had that rose glass locket that shows people the strongest emotions, so I feel like I have to.
None of the others appeal to Old Smoke, to be quite honest.
You also have the option of if you have the option of creating something that was relevant in the story and making it a piece of equipment as well.
Perhaps either the emerald ring or the I'm blanking, the pin, the cloak pin. Either of those.
You can have either of those as you wish. You'll write it with two aspects, so you can just make a note for now and then kind of develop it whenever you have some time. Fantastic. That is rewards sorted. That is indeed the Moldering Court sorted. Let's check in on Nizelle and Shelf. I owe a clue to someone. Who do I owe a clue
A
to?
clue
And a
and
lord
a lord clue.
Oh, and a Lord clue as well.
From
Oh.
our painter, yes.
So you asked, "What are you painting?" And what I think is really interesting about that scene is you gave him that
Void
void
ink.
ink. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he actually like he mixes the void ink in with his pigments, and he's just painting like a landscape of white birch trees. You might even notice a few like cloth canvases with other birch tree paintings. He's got a theme, right? It's like Frida Kahlo in that way, but for whitewood trees. And so there's different depictions of them. But he actually, as he's painting, he says, "Oh, now that's very interesting. Look here in the corner of the canvas. Right there. Can you see the
The what? The what, man?
the paint? The paint has turned green because of your ink that you gave me, and yes, it's this particular northeast quadrant that will only paint in green." And that's the Lord clue. the northeast quadrant of Alaric's painting. I'll spell Alaric's for you. Revealed something in green. I have to give you a regular clue as well. And the regular clue for the whitewood, I think maybe you see these as you're looking through, you see this as you're looking through the various whitewood tree paintings that he's done. And I think that he's actually painted the Silvercut Lodge a number of times, and each time he paints the Silvercut Lodge, he paints it when the blue moon is in the sky. You'll recall there are two moons in this world, a blue moon and a red moon. And so the connection is the blue moon is connected to the appearance of the lodge. So what do the two of you do then? Nizelle, what are you up to?
I've backed off to give them their intimate moment. I don't want any part of that. And yeah, I think I will just like kind of look around and see if there's anything else that seems interesting. We're not in the camp yet, so
No, you're not far though. I mean, you're just like, a few dozen paces away. Alaric will say, you may want to present yourself to Hodson. He is the representative of the undead commune. He will want to ask you your name, who you are, what you represent, and will make an offer to you of to stay with us through the night. It's very unsafe here at night, you see. But we can offer you shelter in our lean-tos.
it's very unsafe, but these will keep me safe. Pointing skeptically at the lean-tos.
Well, we are also formerly brave soldiers and warriors.
All right, very well. Go off to find
Hudson.
Yeah.
Hudson.
Okay.
Shelf, what do you do once you're done with Alaric's?
I mean, I think Shelf is also. Well, I guess Shelf is actually kind of like less interested in visiting Hodson, but more interested in just sort of like going into. I guess. Do we know where Hodson is?
I think he'll come out and meet you pretty soon. Alex might even say, "Oh, there's Hodson just there." You see two undead in like kind of tattered soldierly garb, and they're approaching the general direction of where you all are. And they have carried between them a basket made of woven like moss and twigs and things, whitewood twigs, whitewood twigs that are kind of wrapped, making this basket. And they approach you. Oh, that's Hodson coming just now. Nizelle, you were first. What do you do?
I'll let them approach. I don't.
You hear a voice coming from the basket. All right then, come over here where I can get a good look at you.
I'll take like one step forward. I'm not like super keen to be in the middle of this. I don't. But I'll take a step forward and peer into the basket.
You see a head with thin, stringy auburn hair clinging to gray scalp. Faded tattoos beneath the eyes mark him to have been a member of a tribe long forgotten. He says, "Ah, there you are. I'm Hodson. Former foot soldier and now turned representative of this commune. I must press you. Are you in league with the Luminians? Are you here to do us harm?"
I am in league with no one.
Excellent, excellent. Do I sense the warmth of the old fire in you?
Indeed.
Right. And what shall I call you, Ember?
Nizal of the Red Canopy.
Hazel of the Red Canopy. I do not know that order. I apologize, though it has been many centuries since I've had to think about such things. Ah, how queer it is to lay with death as one's bedfellow, to wake from his embrace and be met with fear ever renewed. I should welcome a second and hopefully final rest, but I refuse to let those damned Luminians deliver it to me.
They've found a way to kill you in a lasting manner.
No, 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 they've been taking us up to their lodge, capturing us. I've heard they've been performing all manner of terrible experiments, but who can say for sure?
The people don't come back after they've been taken.
You can go ahead and make the information move with the presence.
Okay. Conditions?
Maybe exasperated is making him not want to open up to you because you're maybe
Yeah,
being a little,
sure.
you know.
All right. So that's a 6.
That's a 6.
Yeah.
Let me think on this. I think he says, we are just now getting ready to erect a wall made of our old shields and armor. We've been fashioning it for some years now. You're right on time. I fear that when we put this wall up, there will be no leaving the commune for a time. If you wish to rest here, you will be here until we feel it safe enough to leave. Indeed, you'll notice the undead are starting to put up the wall. They're using the siege engines that are left over to kind of help erect large plates of metal fused together of old bits of armor and shields and things. They're making a whole perimeter around the undead commune to help protect themselves from the Luminians. The difficulty here in your miss is that if you wish to, you basically have to leave now if you don't intend to stay here for a bit.
I will leave.
Fantastic. Same thing with you, Shelf. Shelf, if you stay, you're staying.
Oh, okay.
You can keep working on the Whitewood mystery, but you're stuck here for a bit.
Until we come break down this wall.
Sure. Yeah, sure, we'll stay here for a minute.
Okay, very good. And what shall I call you, sir?
There is, I'd like to describe that there's something like a sort of ethereal horn from nowhere, as Shelf introduces himself. You may know me as Shelf. I, as my title suggests, am a tool.
A tool, a simple name, a common object. Are you perhaps the last remaining representative of the Nameless Legion? I fought alongside such as them many, many times.
That I am emissary.
Well met,
If-
well met.
Now that I know that I'm among old friends, I simply cannot leave. Let me take a look at this wall.
Yes, I
should
shall.
check that it is defensible.
Yes, let us have a look. All right then, move me. And they begin carrying the basket around the perimeter of this wall that's going up. And at a certain point, he's kind of, talking about the defenses that they're raising. That once the wall goes up, there's no getting in or out of the Whitewood, or at least not without some trouble, or at least the commune. At a certain point, though, he says, "Tilt me," and they tilt the basket a little bit, and he says, "Shelf, you have brought many warriors with you. Undead like us, though of a different sort."
Well spotted.
Excellent, excellent. the Nameless Legion, standing in defense of our little community against the Luminians. Perhaps we shall be going to war. The best defense is a good offense.
Yes, emissary, now you are speaking our language. When do the Luminines come? It is at night during a certain moon?
Make the information move with, I think this is going to be with presence again. Yeah.
I would like to spend my current member of the Nameless Legion here.
Okay, good. Well, see if you need it after you roll. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's after I roll.
Yeah, the plus ones. Or actually, no, you don't get the plus one. You can do it for advantage. Sorry. You can roll with advantage with him. Yeah.
Okay, is that changed? Okay, or is that?
It's so the plus one is helping someone, and that's always after they roll. For you, it's advantage on the roll.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, okay. So that is a 12.
All right, racking up another Lord clue. Um, this is great. Go ahead and let's see here. I'll think of the clue in a moment. Gavin, Old Smoke, is the plan to go back to Elegy then to take the Pale Crossing?
I don't know if we both need to go, because then we might waste our free journey. I don't know. Because next session another mystery will be
It will
introduced,
indeed.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if nobody goes to the Branch Torn Night today, we are losing that journey. But I need to get rid of some conditions.
I'm open. I don't mind going to Elegy. I don't mind going to the Branch Tournament.
There are things, if you go to Elegy and get the Morning Tower opened, there are a lot of things to do in the Morning Tower.
Yeah, I don't want to keep delaying that. I do want to get it open.
Is that something we should...
I'll go to Elegy.
Okay.
I would want to also go to Elegy.
Okay, so Nazel's taking the Pale Crossing as well. Gavrin's taking the Pale Crossing. Old Smoke, you taking the Pale Crossing, or are you going to do a different journey to go to the Branch Torn Night? Or the Whitewood, I suppose.
Although it's the Branch Torn Night that's the free travel.
Yeah, it's just this. But here's the thing, though. Like, it's just free in this moment. If you go, the next time anybody else goes, they're gonna mark. The countdown gets marked. So it's kind of like, if you were all going, I guess that would be more pressing. But since it's just one of you going, I don't know. It's up to you guys. Whatever you think. But
Alexander, are you going to do Elegy in the Morning Tower? I feel
no,
like
Alexander's stuck in the undead commune.
Yeah, I'm in the commune. I'm in the wall, manning the wall.
all right. Then I am tempted to do the Morning Tower, if there's no great purpose to the Branch Torn Night.
Then the Pale Crossing it is. We'll take a 5-minute break. When we come back, I'll give you the clues, Shelf, that you're owed, and then we will do the Pale Crossing journey and be back on Elegy.
Are we going to do that together, or do I do it separately?
No, you're all
Is
going to be
everybody
together.
at a different place? Oh,
The Pale Crossing picks you up as long as you're near a body of water.
okay.
So,
Cool.
yeah. See you in 5. Shelf, I think what I'm going to do is give you your clue and your Lord clue kind of like in the probably extended scene we're going to have with you living amongst the undead in the undead commune. And so I think that'll be a good way to handle that kind of organically. The walls go up. These undead have been preparing for this for a while. They have made, I would say, quite good defenses, at least from the sides. The problem might be from above, because the lodge appears above the trees. But in any case, Hodson will direct you to your quarters for the evening. He says, "It is a shame that we must even sleep indoors at all at night. I know that many of us, we very much enjoyed resting out in the open, letting our shriveled flesh be tantalized by the changing weather patterns. It made us feel, perhaps, ever so briefly alive. But because of the Luminians, we have taken to sleeping in these hovels. You can stay with Mercer, our former camp cook.
Oh, excellent.
Mercer! And Mercer will come over. Unlike all these other like kind of like withered undead, Mercer's like a big bloated undead. His skin is like he's a large fellow. His skin is gray and you can see the black veins underneath it. The skin is stretched so tight. And Hudson says, Mercer, how are things going with your, viscera problem? And Mercer says, it is no worry, Hodson. I'm doing a good job as of late, keeping them all in. Excellent, excellent.
Viscera problem.
Shelf.
Do tell.
Mercer
Yes?
is a very nice fellow, and I think you're going to rest reasonably comfortably in his lean-to. But should you wake up in the middle of the night and find your hand plunged into something wet and squishy, you might want to go ahead and let that go. And just hope that none of it got in your mouth.
Let it go.
Yes.
Let go the event or the hand?
Shelf, poor Mercer can't keep his guts in.
Oh, very, very well. So you spoke of food. You have food. You are growing. You have
Yes, it all just
livestock.
it all goes to rot because, well, we don't eat, although Mercer finds a way. And so, even more reason for you to stay with him so he can prepare something for you. He's still just as good a cook as he was in life. All right, then. To my shack! And the two carriers carry him off to his shack.
All right, Mercer. Then, do you know if the the Lumerians? Do you know if they eat? Have you seen them hunting? Have you seen them stealing crops?
I think Mercer will give you his clue as you go to his shelter, as he's kind of like explaining to you what he knows. And he says that the only thing he knows for sure is they use these arrows that the undead have taken to calling Darkstar arrows. These arrows, they believe, allow the Luminine hunters to see over long distances. He explains all that to you, then takes you to his little shack and says, "You're lucky it's just you and me. The others are, well, they're pretty much stacked up like cord wood."
Yes, well, it's you and us. Us is a better way to put it. Where one member of the Legion goes, all shall follow.
Well, I don't know if we have room for all of you, but that's all right. We'll make do. And he kind of heaves his kind of large, oily, foul-smelling bulk into the shack and invites you in. He says, "Now let me just get a lantern lit here." And it's quite dark inside the shack. Do you go inside?
Yes, it does. I guess I'll also briefly describe that. Well, if I may briefly describe the naming.
Oh yes, please do. Yeah.
the as I think in this case the member of the Legion who was summoned had been sort of circling around the perimeter, checking, basically checking the perimeter, checking that the wall was stable as it's being put up, and sort of returns to give that report. And so Shelf says,
Very well, Rin the Warden, ever watchful.
and then looks to Mercer before heading inside and says,
Well, there we go. That's already one fewer. We'll make do somehow.
He's stumbling around in the dark, trying to find his lantern to light it. While you're kind of maybe just standing there awkwardly, I don't know what you're doing. But at a certain point, you hear he's like, "Now I know it's here somewhere. Let's see, let's see. Oh, there we are. Now we just need a bit of kindling and." Oh, I'm terribly sorry about that. Excuse me. And in the dark, he kneels down to gather himself up and begins shoving it back inside his belly, though you can't see it. You can smell it. Let's go to the Pale Crossing. We're on a journey. You have traveled to the nearest shore you can find. River, lake, sea, it matters not. The boatman always comes when you call. You step aboard the small vessel, just large enough for your party. Thousands of words carved into the wood, death liturgies in 100 tongues. The journey to and from Elegy is always on calm waters. Even rapids and waves are stilled by the vessel's overwhelming veil of dreariness. The boatman extends his bony hand toward you for payment. Now, taking the Pale Crossing to Elegy in the Morning Tower from the lands remaining, as well as the return from that sorrowful island, is considered a single journey. So, to go back to the lands remaining, you don't have to take another. You don't have to mark another journey box. You just mark the journey box the first time to get whichever direction you're going, or this to go back. However, we do have to mark the first box on the actual text of the journey here. And that says, "The boatman fills your mind with the feeling of happiness, good cheer, and friends long gone. He demands a price of wistfulness and longing. Which of the three of you will pay this price? In order to pay the price, you have to mark an aspect that is reminiscent of wistfulness and longing, maybe happier times, and then describe why that satisfies the price. What are your memories?" He will pick each of you up in turn, and eventually you'll all be traveling across the fog-shrouded sea. Who's paying the price? Only one of you must.
I think given that Gavin and Old Smoke just did the Protestant Queen, which I feel like had the sort of same theming, it might be most interesting to see what Nazelle longs for, or because that's not an emotion that we
We don't
associate
get
with
from Nizelle
her.
very often. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Nizelle, give us a happy one. Mark an aspect, please. If you're okay with it.
Okay. Yes, I am okay with it. I have a memory in mind. Let me figure out which aspect will work for it. Um, okay. I'm gonna mark the aspect on my violet lantern. It burns with a pale violet flame, even without oil. And I think the thing that is wistful about this is the color is reminiscent of something that existed in my childhood home. Nizelle had three younger siblings. that she left orphaned after she murdered her mother. And so this is specifically something that her younger sister had on her bedding, was this shade.
The price is paid. And you're on a journey, so you do have the ability to make camp, and it'll be a safe make camp for you all. That will force a make camp on Shelf, but narratively it makes sense because Shelf is about to jack up with Mercer, who I'm sure will provide plenty of protection and or possible danger. So, but in any case, otherwise we can just have a non-make camp glimpse at all of you crossing the fog shrouded sea.
I would like to make camp. I have 3 conditions, so I would like to make camp.
Yeah, same.
Okay, very good. Let's read the make camp move. When you and any other number of embers settle down to rest, you can tell a pleasant story from the time of the old fire or engage in your ritual. If you do, clear an appropriate condition or unmark an appropriate aspect. Then, as a group, you discover a clue for an active mystery or for the Morning Tower. Tell me what it is. The clue cannot conclusively answer a question by itself. So, yeah, you're going to have a scene with the 3 of you just on this boat with the boatmen, taking this really, really still, calm, dreary, fog-choked journey to Elegy, back to Elegy. The boatman never says anything, and the ocean literally calms when the Pale Crossing is on it. There are no waves. It's almost as if the blue and red moon, they cease their endless tugging whenever the Pale Crossing is on the water. The scene is yours.
I think Gavin has placed the burning branch sort of in the middle, like a little bonfire on a boat, to offset the dreariness a little bit. And I think he is um, talking to Nazelle about what happened with the Pretescent Queen, explaining that. And I think mostly just kind of hyping Old Smoke up for like um, how you know how cool you were during the whole thing, as in like not like awesome, I mean that too, but as in like physically cool, how you kept your cool, how you managed to break the barrier, and Gavin was so impressed, and how beautiful that ending was through you know your compassion that you showed, and just basically like it's almost like starting to sound a little bit unbelievable with how Gavin is like embellishing the story to make Old Smoke just very much like you're like, is this Old Smoke, or is this like one of those heroes in the Branch Torn Knight kind of legends?
I love that. While you're doing that, I think Old Smoke kind of just gestures for you to sort of hold your burning branch up a little bit more and then slips into shadows behind you, ignoring the entire dialogue because he's so nonplussed by being bragged about in any conceivable way. So my ritual, slipping into shadows, that's what I'm doing. What am I journey scene?
Gavin is keeps being absolutely delighted by this trick. I think it's just I think he's like adjusting the shadows as if to see like, oh, if I make it a bit bigger or smaller, like Old Smoke will pop out, but he doesn't. It's just absolutely delighted.
Nizelle is nodding occasionally to indicate that she is listening, but she is not. She's just wistfully staring at this purple fire. So
I think after a moment, Gavin will notice, and with Old Smoke gone anyway, there doesn't seem to be much point in just hyping. So I think there's a moment of quiet, and he will nod at the lantern and says, "It's very pretty
Shelf nearly got in a duel for your sake.
for my sake."
Hmm. He is, we won't see him for a while, I suppose. He's found a company of undead soldiers, and he should be very happy there. I don't think he even noticed me leaving, honestly.
You probably did, but there's no point in stopping you. May I? And I'll like reach out a little bit to the lantern.
Nudge it over with my foot.
I will take a candle from the burning branch, that one, the same candle that I always seem to whisper to, and I'll hold it close, like almost as if I'm gonna actually put it in the lantern, but I don't quite. I whisper something through it, and it does seem like, the way you hold a match to a candle, and it takes a little bit for it to catch fire, but then I think it shines ever slightly the brighter, coating the boat in the purple light.
Incidentally, since you have some downtime here, Gavin, do you want to go ahead and make some candles or make a candle?
Oh, maybe I should. Sure, why not? Yeah, I think maybe because I can sense that Nazelle doesn't necessarily want to talk about it, but I think it's sort of this way of being very like, oh, we're not talking about a big thing. Look, I'm making candles. It's such a non-big deal. To kind of keep the conversation going without making Nazelle feel too defensive. Let's make some candles.
You have the tools and ingredients necessary to craft magical candles. Whenever you take a few hours to do so, mark wax and roll a cinder.
I will do that. Cinder. Well, that's a 4.
Fantastic. How many wax marks do you have now?
This is the first one that I marked, so I have 2 left.
Okay, fantastic. What'd you get?
A 4.
A 4. Okay.
I'm not focused on these candles at all.
Um, so normally you do create the candle, but the candle is so it's the candle will have an aspect, but it'll also have a complication, and it's very poorly made, and so you cross out 2 of its little use boxes. What aspect do you want this candle to have?
Hmm. I want this candle to um light and no, I want this candle to cause everyone in a small space to fall asleep. That sounds fun.
Oh, okay, very good. And what are the complications? Will they dream of old gore, or will they draw unwanted attention?
Hmm. Oof, both of these seem very bad when people are sleeping. I do like the image of everyone dreaming of the pain of old gore. That's horrible.
Fantastic. And you have to mark 2 boxes on it. It's not a good candle.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Turns
Um,
out making candles on a boat is not a good
Not a great
idea.
idea. Good idea.
Who
Even
knew?
even a very still boat, apparently. Very good. Shall we check in on the move? Old Smoke, you did your ritual. Do you want to make the case for clearing a? Do you even want to clear marked by Lady Verdanth? If not, you can unmark an aspect.
Yeah, I'm going to unmark an aspect. I think it makes sense given our peaceful boat ride here. I've got my most recently used mouse in the tower, smooth and clear as still water. I'm going to unmark that.
Fantastic. Um, Nizelle, Gavin, do you need more scene, or are you ready to do that?
I think I'd like to engage in my ritual. I don't think Nazalla's feeling like she wants to
Feeling
share a pleasant
happy story.
story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which means that I will have brought some fallen wooden detritus with me, and I am constructing an effigy. This one I think looks kind of vaguely canine.
Fantastic. Gavin, what about you?
I think as this really shoddy candle is made, I think Cameron kind of like laughs at himself at the candle and says, well, even the smallest spark may light the dark for a little while. no harm in mistakes. And I'll add it like on top. And I think that's why I think the way that I say it, it's like you feel like it's like reciting something that somebody's obviously said to me like many, many times, right? Um, and I think that's the happy story, being reminded that there was a time where it was okay if you messed up.
Which conditions are you clearing?
I think wistful. I think I'm trying very hard to be like cheerful and good for the others, and like trying to repress that wistfulness.
Very good. Nizal?
I'll clear exasperated because while I'm not participating very well in this, I think I understand what Gavrin's trying to do for me. So,
Very good. Shelf, normally the undead, they kind of like hide in their lean-tos at night because that's when the Luminians hunt, right? And indeed, the fog actually kind of clears at night, and you can see the moons in the sky, the blue and the red. But because they've put up their new wall, they're feeling a little more brave. They're feeling a little bit more secure, and um, they actually find a way to light a fire for you. They don't normally care about having a fire, and in any case, white wood doesn't burn. But they managed to use some excess bodily matter in order to light a fire, and all the undead are gathering around it. And Mercer is going to go cook some food, which they'll pass around, but only you have to eat. And they're going to just be there recalling tales, telling stories, singing old soldier songs. Do you join in the merriment?
Oh, absolutely. This is why I'm here. Um, oh, yes. Shelf is absolutely he's joining in the songs, partaking in the feast,
Yes.
um, and is like at some point he is. Hmm. I guess I guess I'll ask am I getting the I guess can I get the Lord clue in this?
Yeah, you're going to get the Lord Clue in the. What I was going to do is have
Hmm.
one of the undead tell a story about Noxiliax.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that was exactly what he was going to ask. He was going to ask, like, oh yes, what? So the Luminarians are surely not the first great threat that has come upon your merry host.
And one of them, I think Hodson in his, who has now been kind of set on a little makeshift plinth. He says, "Indeed, it is not. We, when we first arose, we had to deal with the agents of the great dragon. Ah, though we have little spied the dragon ourselves." And then some other undead says, "Desmond, Desmond, tell us the story of the Emerald Nightmare. You tell it so well." And Desmond says, "Yes, yes, I suppose I do tell it well, since I myself encountered Noxiliacs once before they disappeared." And indeed, poor Desmond is like mostly charred bone, um, indicating his encounter with Noxiliacs. "Well, you see, as you all know, the great dragon was not always malevolent. It was not always evil. Indeed, in the time of the old fire, Noxiliax was a friend of the Fae, was a friend of great companies like ours. One could go to the dragon, seek its counsel, gain the power of its draconic magic in whatever quest you might be undertaking. But yes, yes, as you know, the dragon turned to despair. Its poor young always died malformed and weak. And then just before the dimning, grief fully hollowed Noxiliax. The dimning found a wound to enter. Dreams soured, and the dragon's communion with growth and renewal twisted into fixation and dread. Where once it nurtured life, it began to now hoard it, fearing every ending was another theft. And then, when the dimning came, Noxiliax turned upon the fair folk of Lyrelen, waging a war of emerald fire and collapsed glamour. Lyrelen burned, the Fae were driven out, and the dragon crowned itself the sole sovereign of Khaldun. And now here we are, under its tyrannical wing. Even though no one has seen the dragon in centuries, you cannot help. You cannot help but see the signs of its passing, the signs of its dominion. How the forest floor rises and falls almost imperceptibly, as if the land itself were breathing, as if the land were asleep, like the dragon breathing. Leaves that fall constantly, even in the height of summer, drifting down in slow spirals like shed scales. The woodcutter who pauses mid-swing, pressing their forehead to a tree trunk, whispering an apology to the draconic lord for taking what is his. Oh, these are dark times, but we do as we must. All we have is each other. We can only see a new day if we stick together. Perhaps someday we will be able to move beyond the boundaries of the White Wood. Perhaps we will leave this unlife into something new. But until then, we are leal companions. And he looks up at their new wall. And through our industry we shall thrive. And they all kind of cheer.
Hear, hear, Desmond. Excellent.
Your clue in his story, because what you were looking for, or this is very above the table, but our clue, what we're looking for is, where is Lyrelen, right? And I think there is a clue. I think I think at some point his speech causes the company to start singing. They break out in song. And their song, you notice, they don't notice it, but you notice that their song, which appears to be some kind of like old, kind of like it's in a language that you don't know, but it sounds like it has the cadence of like a dirge, or a really sad lullaby maybe. But as they're singing this song, you'll see that the trees react to it. The foliage reacts to it. It seems to bend and part. And that is your fourth Lord clue.
Excellent.
And that feels like a good place to end for today. I will owe clue to the Make Camp group. Shelf, you still have to make camp. And then that will be kind of where we pick up for next time. let's go ahead and go to our end of session procedure. All right. I don't think we have any moves that trigger at the end of session, and so let's go ahead and go through our end of session questions to see how you all did there. Happily, you're all getting credit for the very first question, which is, did you resolve the mystery? Yes, you did. So everyone gets that XP. Shelf, did you roll a cinder?
I did not.
Did you name another enemy, ally, or shade, and in doing so alter their fate? Yes, you did. Did your pride reveal itself beneath the mask of humility?
I if it counts for the fire narration, then I would say that in Shelf's initial conversation, first conversation with the Legionnaire of the Nameless Legion, showed that even in his sort of begging to be given the
Oh, I
opportunity
like
to
it.
wield a
Yeah.
sword, yeah, he was belittled for having the hubris to think that even he would wield it.
Fantastic. You picked up 3 XP, and you advanced with a little bit left over. Let's go to Old Smoke. Old Smoke, you resolved a mystery. Did you roll a cinder, Old Smoke?
No cinder, no.
Did you demonstrate your amazing physical talents to someone else's wonder and astonishment?
I mean, there was no amazing martial things I did, but I
No,
did
not today. Yeah.
say my standing in the face of Lady Kendwin did seem to wow Gavrin so much so that she waxed eloquently in the boat.
That is true. That is a fair point. Yeah, I'll give you that. Did you relate a situation to the story of the mouse in the tower?
Totally did, yeah.
Yes. So you picked up 3 XP. Nizel, and that advanced you as well. Nizel of the Red Canopy resolved a mystery. Did you roll a cinder today?
No, I did not.
Did you spill blood in a way that caused the land to respond?
No, I did not.
Did you give cold comfort to the suffering?
No, I was really hoping to get defend. I really had plans,
I know, I
but
know, I know you did. You picked up 1 XP though. Gavrin the Everlit, um, did you roll a cinder? I think you did,
Yes,
didn't
I
you?
did.
Yeah. Did you risk yourself to bring hope or illumination into a dark place?
I would say in the fight with Lady Cinderwin.
I agree. Did you share your fire with another or take theirs from them?
In the boat, sharing it with Old Smoke, allowing the
Oh,
shadow
right.
slip, and also in the fight again, trying to protect us.
Yeah, no, I definitely, the boat scene for sure. Okay,
Mhm.
so you picked up 3 XP, or actually, no, you picked up 4 XP in total. And advanced, I think. Did you
Yes.
advance? Yes, you did. Awesome. You guys can pick your advancements between sessions. Let me make a note here that the person who owes an old fire is deaf, or assuming you mark the old fire smoke, it's you, right? Um, I don't remember if I don't recall if you marked the fire to come or the old fire.
I marked the old fire.
Okay, so you'll have to do that at the top of the next session. Did anybody else do anything like that? I don't think so. And I'll make a note here for myself for on the recording. We are going to do make camp for Shelf because Shelf has to make camp, and then we're going to do a clue for the make camp from Nizel, Gavrin, and Old Smoke. And so that's kind of where we'll pick up. I suspect we're going to have kind of an elegy session for most of you next time. So let's just go to Stars and Wishes.
I can start. Stars, yeah, very, very fun session. Big star for the queen, the pre-chescent queen, struggle. So pretty and so sad. Star to Ken for that ending. I thought that was very poignant and beautiful to like have this embrace of flowers and just like very romantic, like capital R romantic. I also really like the theory, and I like that you made up a whole poem in like 10 minutes for the thing. That was really great. Um, for Alexander, I love Shelf just being like there's like such a joy now that he's with like other war buddies that we haven't seen from him yet. And that's just a very like not only is it very charming, but I just really love that we get to see like all of these new sides of Shelf and that you keep like peeling back layers and like showing us what he's about. And I think that's really fun. I also really love I guess like the callback or the elaboration of you in one of the make the camp scenes, like talking about that ritual with the rock. And back then it was like kind of funny-ish, where it was like, haha, we whack each other over the head with a rock and then we forget our names. And then this was like, I mean, did you forget or did you just not want to be tortured? Which, so I really like sort of the recontextualization of that and like how I don't know, there's you play the Legion in like such a I don't know what the word is exactly, but they are like so like straightforward and mundane and like using rocks and stuff, but then also like really horrifying with that. And I think that's a really cool way to play it. For Alina, I love Nazelle being like, don't touch the tree. I'm gonna eat some moss. And also just being like very on site for this I forgot his name, the scaled blessing. Just
The scale blessed pilgrim.
the scale blessed pilgrim. Yeah, just being like absolutely on site for him. That's very funny. I mean, Nazelle is on site for many people, but also the the happy story being, oh, the siblings that I orphaned had a pretty thing in the house. Like, okay. Love that for you, I guess. I said it in the chat, but my wish is that Arbol, when we get to that, is one of the siblings, and that Nazelle gets absolutely murdered. That is my wish. Um, but more actionable wishes. I am very interested to see people interact with Branch Tor Knight, and if they like it, for no reason at all. Um, that was really fun to see. I was internally screaming. So it's very cool that we're gonna interact with that. I also really want to do have Gavin interact with the Whitewood because I feel like the Luminance and like Gavin's whole thing has an interesting dynamic. Um, and I feel like the fight changed something in the dynamic between Smoke and Gavin, and I'm very interested to explore if that's like just in Gavrin's head or if that's a real thing.
Oh, I will say when the branch torn knight was introduced, my initial thought was like, oh dear, am I gonna have to like do another journey immediately after getting to Whitewood just so that I can get to the branch torn knight? Um, because the prospect of night challenges, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, Shelf is going to be all about that. But just that little getting to Whitewood and like getting some detail on like, oh, there's this kind of like war band. They've like given up, fighting to build this commune. And then what really, it was like, I could feel myself being pulled back into Whitewood when it was like, oh, and they know about the Nameless Legion. I'm like, all right, brothers in arms, let's go. Um, oh, which, I guess kind of in contrast to that, like it was interesting having like a very sort of like connecting moment with uh Nigel, like last session, at the end of last session, of this like, oh, we both wanna like die and be returned to nature, and then like coming, like, and then at the start of this session, having this thing of like, oh, here's where they're absolutely diametrically opposed. Um, and that was yeah, that was just great from a character interaction standpoint. It was really it was really cool seeing Gavrin and Old Smoke do just duo the struggle. Going through that, everything involved in that was great, and I love that Gavrin continues to be this sort of like wistful, very uh, emotional figure, kind of the heart of the heart of the group. Um, um, yeah, I'm now very interested to see what's going to turn up in Whitewood, and I guess whether once you are done at Elegy, whether Whitewood. Whether you'll all be, which of you will be coming to Whitewood, which of us will be going to the Branch Tour night, which of us will going to be going to the next mystery.
uh my stars are like player level stars. I didn't have like specific role play moments that stood out to me, but I was picking up on what a lot of you were doing today. Like Alexander, you've got this like wonderful like subtlety that like you didn't. This like sort of collective identity of the Legion is like coming through, and you've been laying down the groundwork for this for like sessions and sessions and sessions, and I see it. I see the vision, and I love it. Jazzy, I knew what you were trying to do with the journey scene and like setting Ken up to be able to mark that XP at the end, and I love that too. And like writing a poem, obviously, yes, like big stars. I also love the Whitewood mystery, which I think Jack wrote. Is that right, Jason? Yeah. So there's a dramatic irony to a lot of the side characters that is like really really great, right? Like having like an undead cook who's like really overweight but can't eat the food, but also like can't hold his guts in. Like that's really good. So yeah, it's a delight to be at a table with you all. This is wonderful. I do have a wish. Next session, I want something to happen with the House of Durrell, and I want to be involved in that. I don't know what it is, but something juicy.
So many things. Let me like a few things that really jumped out for me. The delight of listening to Shelf and Nizelle travel to Whitewood only to discover this sort of island of Dr. Moreau-esque undead commune trying to still be alive humans, and Shelf really leaning into like the majesty of old soldiering company, and Nacelle realizing everybody's already dead here and it's time to move on. Just, there was some wonderful comedy playing out that was wonderful. I just enjoyed it, every moment of it. And then the confrontation with Old Smoke and Gavrin in the Moldering Court was wonderfully epic, and I totally agree. Gavrin is like the anchor of emotional impact, and it was sort of in that earlier interaction we had last session where I was still sort of your initial question in the struggle, Jason, hit me that Old Smoke was being a little bit more introspective, and so I really appreciated sort of Gavrin giving Old Smoke that kind of opportunity to explore the character in that way. And I do agree with you, Jazzy, that I think there's something brewing here, which I really liked. But also, Jason, stars, stars, and stars, defeating a big boss with romance. Oh my goodness. There's no other system I've ever played in my 50 plus years. This was wonderful. Just so beautiful and still epic and wow, just really, really terrific overall experience, a great story, and session 6 have enjoyed as much, if not more, than every other session we've all had together. Thank you, everybody.
I'll call out a star for the solution to the question, like the story of Noxiliax and then this night. That was amazing, and what I loved about it was how it like tied in the greater story of the Great Forest, and but it also just used the clues really effectively. It was just a really, really solid solution. Um, just as a point of reference, we the other group also just resolved this one, and they went in a totally like kind of a different, totally different direction. They went with a story that was like, um, uh, their story was that like the lover like the lover like kept going to like different artisans to try to find an object that would like win Lady Kenduin's love, right? But Lady Kenduin kept pushing him away, right? Not accepting it. And he was a mortal. So this mortal like could never like win the Fae's love, right? No matter all these like beautiful objects that he brought her. And so he ran off with one of the artisans and and so Lady Kenduin, realizing that she kind of kind of overplayed her hand emotionally, like having lost him, uh she became sad. So yeah, it was interesting how different the stories were, which I think was really great. I always love to see that the solutions can be so different. um Anyway, the solution was great. Really loved it. Really fantastic encounter with the putrescent queen. I continue to love struggles, which I guess is a star for me. I continue to love them. They're really, really fun. I enjoyed this one in particular because it's the first time we got to see the group split up to do one. And I thought it still worked great because it actually has an interesting, this wasn't intentional, but it actually has like an interesting like self-balancing thing in it where the if the rest of the group is not in the struggle, it doesn't last as long because you don't have to do as many die rolls, and so you get to enjoy it. But the two people who are not in it don't have to like sit around while it happens. So there's a nice like it kind of like actually corrects itself in that way, or it kind of balances in that way. And yet the other two are still involved through the paint the scene, and so I thought it was just really fantastic. Just worked out so great. That's the first time I've run the Putrescent Queen, so that was really fun to see as well. So that's a note here. I think this group will be doing a lot of the firsts, in addition to being just the first group to ever play it. Um, Star for star for how you all acquitted yourselves during that. That was just really, really fun to see. And I'll second the poem encounter with the Putrescent Queen. That was fantastic. I loved the Nazelle flashback with the purple fire. That was terrific. I thought it was really, really like a kind of the perfect sort of Nazelle flashback, emotional, happy flashback. I also really continue to appreciate like Gavrin's like role in the story as this like kind of this like emotional like core of it, which actually is really, really relevant. We don't know this yet in the story, and it's kind of a spoiler, but Gavrin was the last person to see the old fire, right? The last person in the world to see the old fire before it went out. And so there's something like kind of interesting about that, about Gavrin kind of serving that emotional kind of core of the story. And so that was really great. And star for Alexander for I really, really had so much fun with the undead commune scenes and kind of how you interacted with them. And I didn't, and we're not done. I think we're going to continue to do more undead commune scenes. And so I kind of wonder if the Whitewood's going to be one of those things where like sometimes in CFB there's like a mystery that just one person does, and I'm kind of wondering if the Whitewood is going to be like Shelf's mystery while everybody else goes off to do other things. So that'll be kind of interesting to see if it works out that way. But yeah, I think that's all I got. It was really, really great. Thank you all so much. If there's nothing else, I will wave goodbye to everybody watching the video.